Long before she was a Sith apprentice, Liliana was a child of Zirrek Prime. A planet shrouded in eternal darkness, its sky forever crackling with storms, and its surface marred by deep chasms and jagged mountains. Life did not thrive here. It endured, twisting into brutal forms. The planet's violent energy reached into the minds of its inhabitants, weaving chaos into their souls. And deep beneath the surface, ancient secrets whispered of power untapped by any mortal hands. Amid this unforgiving landscape, Liliana's journey began, alone, orphaned by the same planet that had claimed her parents. It was said that Zirrek Prime chose its survivors, bending their will, forging their path. From the shadows of this forsaken world, Liliana emerged, shaped by its darkness and the choices forced upon her. Zirrek Prime was no ordinary world. The jagged peaks of its mountains stretched like skeletal fingers toward the roiling sky, while gaping chasms tore through the barren land like scars on a corpse. Sandstorms of poisoned particles swept across the surface, grinding everything to dust, while toxic gas vents spewed clouds that turned the very air lethal. Lightning storms lashed the skies with violent flashes, illuminating the eternal night in bursts of blinding light. In the midst of the planet's hostility, adventurers like Liliana's parents sought secrets buried in the planet's ancient, malevolent heart. Driven by ambition and curiosity, they came to uncover the mysteries of the dark energy that pulsed beneath the surface, believing it held untold power. But Zirrek Prime's cruelty claimed them. Liliana, only a child of 6, watched as her parents, once vibrant and full of hope, withered under the planet's relentless grip. Their minds warped by the very energy they sought to control, until one day they vanished into the wilderness, never to return. Alone in a world of death, Liliana became the planet's next experiment. For years, Liliana survived. At first, her body frail and ill-suited for the harsh terrain, she scavenged what little she could from her parents' abandoned camp. As the days turned to weeks and weeks to years, her body hardened, her instincts sharpened. She learned to hunt the creatures that roamed Zirrek Prime's wilderness, vicious beasts whose teeth and claws could tear her apart if she made one wrong move, and yet she was never truly alone. From the depths of the planet, a dark presence whispered to her, calling her deeper into its embrace. She could feel it beneath her feet, thrumming through the cracked ground and in the biting winds that swept across the plains. It promised her strength, if she would only embrace it. She did. By the time she reached adolescence, Liliana was no longer the fragile child who had once cowered in the shadows. She had become a creature of Zirrek Prime, her body strong, her mind relentless, her soul touched by the dark energy that permeated the world around her. The planet had shaped her, and in doing so had set her on a path toward her destiny. One fateful day, the sky above Zirrek Prime roared as a ship descended from the clouds, cutting through the storms like a dagger through flesh. Darth Varakius, the Unyielding, a powerful Sith Lord, had arrived. He was on a quest to find new apprentices, those whose raw strength could be molded into weapons of the dark side. Zirrek Prime, with its history of darkness and death, had drawn him in like a moth to flame. Darth Varakius' ship landed near the remains of Liliana's camp. The moment his boots touched the ground, he felt it, the pull of untapped potential. His senses flared as the dark energy that pulsed through the planet called out to him, leading him directly to the teenage girl who had defied death for over a decade. Liliana watched as the dark figure approached her camp, his robes billowing in the toxic wind. She felt the power radiating from him, a power not unlike the whispers she had heard all her life, but she did not hide. Instead, she stood tall and defiant as the Sith Lord drew closer. Darth Varakius was intrigued by the fierce determination in her eyes. Here was a child, abandoned and orphaned, yet still standing in defiance of everything that should have broken her. He reached out with the Force and felt the raw, unrefined power that burned within her. A power shaped by pain, suffering, and the relentless brutality of Zirek Prime.
You are strong, stronger than most.
Varakius said, his voice sonorous and baritone that seemed to shake the ground beneath them. Liliana said nothing, but her gaze never wavered. The fire in her eyes spoke louder than words. Darth Varakius offered her a choice. She could remain on Zirek Prime, where the darkness would eventually consume her as it had consumed her parents. Or she could leave with him and become something greater. A Sith, a weapon of the dark side. Liliana made her choice without hesitation. After arriving at Darth Varakius' fortress, located on a planet hidden deep within a secret galaxy, Liliana's true training began. For months, she endured brutal trials, honing her skills under Varakius' relentless training. His methods were brutal, his tests designed to break both the mind as much as the body. But for Liliana, this was not new. She had been surviving Zirek Prime's cruelty all her life. The arena fell silent, save for the rattling of the gates as they swung open, revealing the hulking form of a beast native to Zirek Prime. 10 feet tall, covered in scales as hard as stone, it emerged from the shadows with a deafening roar. Its glowing eyes locked onto Liliana, burning with predatory intent.
Ha 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 ha! Survive or perish. The choice is yours, my apprentice.
With her lightsaber igniting in a flash of crimson light, Liliana moved swiftly, dodging the creature's massive claws. The beast was fast, but she was faster. Each move was calculated, precise, just as Darth Varakius had taught her. But her strikes barely scratched its armored hide. She would need more than speed to bring this monster down. The battle raged on, her body pushed to its limits. Then in a moment of clarity she saw it, the weakness. A seam in its armor, small but enough. Liliana leapt over the beast, her lightsaber slashing down with deadly precision. The creature howled in agony, but it was too late. With a final, force-fueled strike, she drove her blade deep into its heart. As the beast collapsed, Darth Varakius appeared, his eyes gleaming with approval.
You understand now,
he said, his hand brushing against the bloodied wound on her face.
Each scar is a mark of your strength, but this is only the beginning.
Exhausted after the long battle, Liliana slumped against the rough stone wall, her muscles quivering from the brutal fight with the beast. The taste of victory was sweet, but her body screamed for rest. Blood, hers and the beast's, soaked the ground beneath her boots. She inhaled deeply, trying to calm her racing heart, but something stirred in the air. A dark presence began to coalesce, swirling around her like a thick, invisible mist. It felt heavy, oppressive, and alive. The beast's lifeless form, still twitching in the final moments of death, began to emit wisps of shadowy energy that snaked toward her, drawn to her like iron to a magnet. Liliana's fingers dug into the stone, sensing the change but unable to resist it. The pain came suddenly sharp and hot. She gasped as the dark energy latched onto her skin, its tendrils wrapping around her arms and chest like serpents. The pain was unlike any she had felt before, burning, piercing, as if her very soul was being branded. She winced, but refused to cry out. She didn't know what was happening. The mark of the Sith was taking hold. Nearby, Darth Varakius observed with an inscrutable expression, a mix of satisfaction and intrigue gleaming in his eyes. He had orchestrated this moment, leading her to confront the beast as part of her initiation into true Sith power. As he watched the dark energy envelop her, he felt a surge of pride. This was not merely a rite of passage, it was the birth of a new weapon forged in darkness. Slowly, the dark tendrils began etching into her skin, carving intricate runes and symbols that glowed faintly red before solidifying into jet-black tattoos. Each line, each mark, pulsed with the raw power of the dark side. She could feel it deep within her bones, a surge of energy that drove away her fatigue and replaced it with something else, strength. The first of many marks had appeared, and with them, her transformation began. The mark of the Sith is not merely ink, it is a living dark force energy that binds itself to Liliana after every battle won and every kill made. Her tattoos are a manifestation of her struggles, her triumphs, and her bond to the dark side. Each mark carries the weight of her past, a reminder of what she has sacrificed and what she must continue to endure. As she rose to her feet, the pain receded, replaced by a deep sense of empowerment. She looked down at her hands, now trembling with the energy that coursed through her veins. She had been forged anew in darkness, a vessel of power under the watchful gaze of Darth Varakius.
Good. The mark binds you to the darkness. Embrace it.
Stay tuned for Chapter 2. If you've enjoyed this video, smash the like button, subscribe, and then leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching.